We've got several new updates and rumors for my most anticipated Disney Plus show, and that would be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Smash that like button like US Agent. Okay, maybe not US Agent. Do it like the Hulk, and let's get right into this news. Also, it's a Top 5 Tuesday, and we're going to go over my top 5 characters that are in Marvel Comics that I want to see brought into the MCU, and we'll do that at the end of this video. Now, let's talk Falcon and the Winter Soldier updates. First up, there was this awesome set video taken of an actual fight sequence from the show. I'm not going to show the actual footage here, but I will put up some screen captures of the video. You can go check out that video. It's on murphysmultiverse.com. It's over on Reddit as well. But either way, in this video, we get our first look at John Walker, the US agent, fighting a bunch of what seem to be bad guys. And what's really weird about it is it looks like Bucky Barnes, as the Winter Soldier, is there sort of helping him out. We see Bucky punch rapidly into this armored vehicle, break open its door, and then release what seemed like a bunch of hostages into being free and safe. Now, my first immediate thought was like, holy crap, is the Winter Soldier working with the John Walker Captain America? But I'm not so sure that's actually what's happening here. In fact, Charles Murphy kind of mentions on his website that he's seen other set photos that make it seem like they're on opposite sides of whatever is going on with this conflict, but at least in this video, it looks like they are working together. It's possible Bucky just happens to show up for this thing as well, that it is a really crazy big event. He shows up, John Walker shows up, maybe Falcon's flying around somewhere, and maybe they're all are working together, but that doesn't mean they're on the same team or on the same side. They both just see what's going on in a bad situation and are working together. It's also really interesting that there's no shield here. John Walker, as US agent, does not have the shield. Does Sam have the shield? Is he flying around with Captain America's shield and we don't see him in this shot? Is this later on in the show and Sam has the shield back and John Walker and Falcon and Winter Soldier are all working together? I don't know what it means. Next up, I want to talk about something that was said in a podcast. This was said on The Weekly Planet, which is a podcast that's set up by Mr. Sunday Movies and a friend of his. And in their most recent episode, they were talking about how Batroc the Leaper is likely to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And they said on their show that they had heard from various sources that that was indeed going to happen. And what's super cool about that, beyond just the obvious, Batroc the Leaper, George St. Pierre, come on, that's amazing. But it also corroborates a report we talked about a week and a half here on the show. This would be that there's going to be a scene in the very first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that will show Batroc the Leaper and Omega Red sitting at a table in a bar in Madripoor. This is apparently going to happen in a scene in which Falcon and the Winter Soldier are in Madripoor looking for some kind of information, and they do that with Batroc the Leaper and seemingly Omega Red. It's not like an exact confirmation, and everything at this point is just rumors, but to me, I noticed this and was like, whoa. To me, that adds a little bit more credence, like put another one in the category of probably yes for Omega Red and Batroc the Leaper being in Madripoor in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And just to add a little bit more onto that, I've been reading a lot from murphysmultiverse.com lately. One of the things that I find so fascinating about Charles' writing as of late is that he's talking about how people at Marvel and his sources were not happy that he spoiled the Madripoor thing. And the fact that he's talking about Madripoor a lot is something that they are not that happy about. Apparently, Madripoor was supposed to be a huge secret for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and you can see why, because it leads us to believe mutants will be involved. And if that Omega Red scoop was totally made up, it was made up by somebody that likely knows for sure about Madripoor and knows what that means from the comic book. So again, a lot of this stuff's rumor and whatnot, but I just find it so fascinating that the Madripoor thing is totally real, and it's something that Marvel is not happy that Charles Murphy is talking about. Now, this all leads me to some speculation, so take my hand and let's go to Speculation Town, okay? So one of the things we've been talking about recently is a lot of how we think the beginning of the show will go, the setup to the show, if you will. This idea that Sam Wilson is not going to be Captain America. He's potentially made an offer by Ross to take the super soldier serum, and then he can keep the shield and be Captain America. And what we think is going to happen from there is he is going to meet the Isaiah Bradley character, who was a black Captain America, a super soldier that survived these crazy experiments that were done after Steve Rogers died. Okay, we've covered that in various videos before. After that, after Sam meets Isaiah Bradley, he's going to be like, nope, don't want anything to do with this, not going to take your super soldier serum, and he gives the shield to General Ross and the US government because it's technically their property. Now, from there, we know that Bucky and Falcon are going on some kind of an adventure. It's rumored that Zemo comes to them and actually hires them, wants their help, which is kind of strange. But whatever happens, they're on some kind of a mission working together, and it takes them to Madripoor. We also know that the government is going to institute John Walker as the new Captain America. And check out these awesome posters that are from the set of the show, but they show this idea of presenting that Cap is back, this propaganda from the government that John Walker is the new Captain America. And basically, we're all good here, fam. And so we know that's a big deal for them. That's what they're going to do. They're going to prop up the John Walker Captain America, and we know that there's going to be something nefarious involved there. But what I can't decide, what I'm having trouble speculating about, is how does this show end? How are we going to leave Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Is Sam Wilson actually going to be Captain America? Because I think he will get the shield back, but I'm becoming less and less convinced that he's going to exit the show actually being Captain America, which I know might surprise you. And Anthony Mackie has been talking a lot about how great it is to be Captain America now, what a big deal that is for him, for the African-American community, and just in general for nerds. It's a big deal. He's Captain America now. But I'm not so sure that's actually how the show will end. I just think if the government is doing all of this work to prop up John Walker as Captain America, unless John Walker himself comes forward and denounces and then publicly gives the shield to Sam, I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around how the world at large and the public within the fictional world of the MCU is going to accept Sam Wilson to be Captain America. In my opinion, unless that dude dies, unless John Walker dies, which I really hope he doesn't. I hope they carry on the John Walker character into the MCU after this. And unless they kill him, I see no reason as to why the public will not just continue to accept him as Captain America, if that's really the plan for the government. But then again, John Walker could snap in the show and do some horrible stuff, and then everybody would be like, whoa, 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 he's not Captain, that's definitely not Captain America. And then maybe the government does come crawling back to Sam and allow him to be Captain America again. I don't know, man. I really don't know how it's all going to end, but I'm fascinated by it, and I'm fascinated to see how this show actually plays out. I'm very excited. But now I want to run through my top 5 characters from Marvel Comics that have not been in the MCU that I want to be in the MCU. Number 5, Kane Scarlet Spider. I've talked about this before, but it's been a while since I gushed about how much I absolutely love the Kane Scarlet Spider. Basically, guys, Kane Scarlet Spider was a version of Spider-Man with all of the power and none of the responsibility. He jacked people up, used guns, weapons, and was sort of just a more hardcore version of Spider-Man, and I'd love to see that brought into the MCU. Number 4 would be Big Bertha, and that's just because I find her character to be absolutely hilarious. She's a 2,000-pound, super-powered woman that's huge, but yet somehow crazy athletic. She can also manipulate her body, making her look like a supermodel, and she part-times as a supermodel and then goes into her larger Big Bertha form to fight crime. It's really fun. It's really hilarious. I'd love to see it in the MCU. Number 3 is Emma Frost, who I know we have seen before in X-Men movies, but not properly depicted in my opinion. She needs to be absolutely beautiful, yes, but she also needs to be very intelligent, very conniving, plotting, and a major threat. Emma Frost is incredibly powerful and can manipulate people just with the best of them. At the top level of those kind of villains is Emma Frost. Emma Frost is great. I want to see her properly represented in the MCU. Number 2 would be The Sentry. Robert Reynolds has a fascinating story from the comic books in which he is a hero that's been completely forgotten by everybody on the planet, or is he? His story has to do with sort of madness, insane power, and then eventually, of course, he has this other form that's sort of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, and that's the Void, which is this crazy, omni-powerful thing that does happen at the end of Siege and Dark Avengers. The Sentry's dope. If you haven't ever read any of him, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. That character would be awesome in the MCU. And number 1 would be Franklin Richards. And it doesn't matter whether it's young Franklin Richards, adult Franklin Richards, young Franklin Richards that makes himself himself into adult Franklin Richards or adult Franklin Richards from the future that comes back to warn Reed Richards about horrible things. Franklin Richards is a mutant and the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. He is incredibly powerful, can make universes. Love this character, and I love how he's utilized in really good storytelling. So he's my number one pick of characters from Marvel Comics that have not come to the MCU that I want to see in the MCU. Now let's shout out Night Fist. Yes, indeed, the mother of Scar is Kyera. Her and Hulk had that baby that was Scar. So shout out to you, Night Fist. And now let's ask another nerd card question before we get out of here. I want to know, what was the character of John Walker first introduced as in Marvel Comics? He wasn't called US Agent or Captain America. He had a different superhero name. What did they first call John Walker in Marvel Comics? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this video. The Den of Nerds is independent media. If you want to support us, you can do something as simple as liking or sharing this video. If you want to financially support us, you can join the list of names you see below and become a supporter of us on Patreon. We also do live streams all week, Monday through Friday, over on our live streaming channel. Support independent media. Support the Den of Nerds.